Stop thinking that cardio is going to kill your gains. And I say this as somebody that over the last 2 years has done a 100-kilometer ultra marathon, a couple of regular marathons, half Ironman.
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
And I'd say right now, I'm the happiest I've ever been with my physique. Even after about 15 years or more of trying, I'd say my chest muscles, they're nearly coming through. Nearly. Cardio isn't something to fear and shy away from. Badly planned cardio is. But certainly my training philosophy, I want to have both. I don't want to be a one trick pony. I don't want to have a body that looks great, but I get gas trying to do a park run. I want to have a body that I'm proud of, where I like what I see in the mirror, but I want to be able to back it up with performance as well. I want to be able to take on challenges at the drop of a hat. That's how I want to train. It's how a lot of my clients train. I guess it's not too dissimilar to the whole kind of hybrid lifting trend, but classic hybrid lifting focuses more on maximal strength alongside endurance. And I've messed around with that and I did enjoy it. But I'll tell you what, since getting into my 30s, I don't think my body can handle it anymore. I do find it pretty draining. I was getting lots of little niggles, and I'm just not sure I'm about that life anymore. So since switching to more endurance-based work combined with more classic bodybuilding style training, not only am I enjoying it more, my joints feel better. I look better in the mirror. To me, it just works better. So if that sounds like the kind of way you either like to train or would like to start training, in this video, I want to discuss just a couple of principles that I live by that make it possible to incorporate two different ways of training whilst being able to get the best out of both of them. Because, yeah, technically, poorly planned cardio will affect your gains. There's something called the interference effect, which basically means training for one of these things will detract from the other. But we can minimize or even exclude the effect of that by strategically placing our cardio into our week. So what I like to do is have my lifting days separate to my cardio days. So I'll have 3 lifting days a week and 2 to 3 cardio days. That means whenever I go into a session, I'm feeling recovered and I'm feeling fresh, ready to attack it. I'm not trying to do a 5K time trial off the back of a set of squats where my legs have just got absolutely nothing left.
I've got nothing left.
For me, since doing that and separating lifting and cardio, I've noticed a massive increase in my performance, in my results, but that may not be possible for everybody due to diary commitments or whatever. So what you can do is the next best thing would be to separate them into an AM and a PM session. So lifting in the morning, cardio in the evening, perhaps. Can be the other way around, that'd be fine. Separating them by 6 hours, again, you're going to reduce that interference effect. But what I would suggest in that scenario is that after the AM session, fuel up quickly. Okay, so get a meal in you straight after your session, get some carbs down so that you're replenishing your energy quickly into the muscles so that you're ready to go for that PM session. If that still isn't possible, for whatever reason, you need to do your lifting and your cardio within the same session. Here is how you're going to navigate that. Again, we know that we don't want to be doing our cardio on tired legs. So if you're running, if you're on the bike, if you're on the rower, things that are using the legs, then I wouldn't be doing lower body exercises with my lifting on that day. So you're going to really reduce that interference effect if perhaps you did a upper body lifting session and then your cardio was on the bike. Minimal crossover there between muscle groups, so that's going to help. That's going to be a lot better than doing a lower body session and then the bike. If I need to do some lower body lifting and I do need to pair that with some conditioning, then I'm going to go for an upper body conditioning modality. So something like the ski erg, which I hate. I mean, there's things are bad if I'm choosing the ski erg, or maybe the punch bag. You can be that knob in the gym shadow sparring. But that's how what you're thinking about your conditioning and your lifting if you have to do them on the same day. How can I minimize the effect that they're going to have on each other? Once you've got a routine that strategically places your lifting and cardio throughout the week, we need to know how we're going to progress on these. So when you're a beginner and you've got those kind of like newbie gains available to you, you can focus on giving each your 100% effort. You can really work hard in the gym and you can really work hard on your conditioning, and you'll see good rates of progress on both. Eventually, though, you'll reach a point as you get stronger and as you get fitter where the amount that you need to do to carry on pushing developments forward will almost be too fatiguing to manage both of them side by side week after week. So what you'll do then is you'll work in blocks. So you might have a 12-week block where you're going to focus on muscle building. and you're just going to keep your conditioning at maintenance. At the end of that 12-week block, built some muscle. We're then going to keep your muscle building at maintenance, and then we're going to switch to a conditioning block where we aim to maybe push your VO2 max up a little bit. During these times, I'm still doing both lifting and cardio. It's just that maybe the amount of intensity or the amount of volume on one of them will be slightly higher than the other. And to know how we manage that, you want to know what's the minimum effective dose. What is the least amount of work that I can do to either maintain or progress one of those metrics. So for muscle, to maintain, the minimum effective dose is likely somewhere between 2 to 4 sets per week. Now that's hard sets taken to within about 1 to 2 reps shy of failure, but that really isn't much at all. You could do that in one session, 30 minutes perhaps if you're supersetting it and just doing 2 to 3 sets. Now if you're not training quite as close to failure, perhaps it might be more like 4 to 6, but even then it's still not that much. I don't think people realize quite how little they need to do to maintain what they've got. If we want to take it a step further and actually focus on building muscle rather than just maintaining, that goes from 6 sets to 10 sets, or anywhere between 10 to 20 sets per week. But again, for most people who are looking to manage both lifting and cardio, I'd say probably 10 to 15 is going to be the sweet spot. If you start pushing up 15 to 20, especially on multiple muscle groups, that's going to be a lot of volume and it's going to be quite taxing. From a cardio perspective, it can be a little bit more complex. Probably the simplest way to think about it right now, and I'll maybe expand on this in another video, is that to maintain 1 to 2 short but hard interval sessions per week of somewhere between like 20 to 30 minutes will be sufficient. And if you've got time to fit in a longer zone 2 piece, somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes, then that'll be even better. If we're looking to progress your fitness, somewhere between 2 to 3 interval sessions per week and 1 to 2 zone 2 sessions per week as well. Again, there is a bit more nuance to this, but that's a video in and of itself. And that really is the key things to think about when structuring your week. And just to give you a bit of an example of how my week looks, again, right now I'm focusing on building muscle. So I'm favoring that slightly over my cardio. So I'm doing 3 full body lifting sessions per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 sets per muscle group per week minimum. And the chest, which I'm still working on, that's about 14 sets per week. Tuesdays are VO2 max intervals. So 4 rounds of 4 minutes on, 3 minutes off. And then Thursdays is typically like a tempo run, around about 20 to 30 minutes. If I've got the desire and the time on the weekend, I might add in like a gentle jog down to park run, take park run nice and easy, and then jog back, which is about a 10K in total. That structure for me leaves me feeling amazing every single week. I feel like I'm recovering well. I'm getting the progress out of it that I want. The one thing to bear in mind alongside all of this, though, is that it needs to be underpinned by good nutrition. Lifting and proper cardio with intent, not just coasting, place quite a significant energy demand on the body, and you need to make sure that you're fueling correctly with sufficient carbs, with sufficient protein. There have been times when I've cut back on calories in order to get leaner and to drop body fat. And if anything, I'd actually argue that if you are looking to develop your physique, getting lean, if you aren't already, is one of the best ways to do this. It will reveal muscles that you maybe aren't even aware that you currently have. And the added benefit of carrying less body fat that you'll see in a lot of your cardio, running in particular, is insane. So alongside going through phases where I'll focus more on conditioning and sometimes more on muscle building, I'll also cycle through periods of time where I have a focus more on performance and a focus more on physique. And this is where it's really important to be on top of your nutrition, being able to transition between different dietary approaches, between being in the performance focus block, a muscle building block, or a fat loss phase as well. So a lot to juggle, a lot to think about. But if you implement those principles that I mentioned at the start of this video, that will ensure that your training is in a really good place. And then we can start to layer in some of these other things nutrition-wise on top of that. So if you've got any questions, ask them in the comments below and get training.